Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the weekly watch list here, where we go over all of our levels and our potential setups this week that we're looking to take. We're going to go ahead and start off with news here as per usual. Not the craziest news week, but definitely not the lightest either. So going into Monday, there's really honestly nothing with regards to U.S. news. Tuesday, 8:30 a.m. we have goods trade balance, prelim wholesale inventories. 9 a.m. we have S&P and then HPI. And then at 10 a.m. we have consumer confidence and JOLTS job openings. Okay, so Wednesday we're going to be looking at ADP non-farm at 8:15, advanced GDP at 8:30, and advanced GDP at 8:30 as well. And then we have pending home sales at 10 a.m. and crude oil investors at 10:30. So Tuesday and Wednesday are going to be some of those denser news days right off the bat. Thursday we have core PCE price index, employment cost index, and unemployment claims. These are going to be some pretty significant news reports to be aware of and see how they kind of affect. They could really throw off some of our setups, cause them to break or reject heady come that day. And then personal income and personal spending as well. Chicago PMI 15 minutes in. Pretty important news. And the natural gas storage as well. So PMI and those pre-markets are going to be some big news points to be aware of on Thursday. Friday, we're going to look at average hourly earnings, non-farm employment change, and unemployment rate at 8:30. Similar as to Thursday, keep an eye out, see how it affects our levels. And then it's going to be manufacturing PMI, final manufacturing PMI, and then ISA manufacturing PMI, and manufacturing prices and the construction spending all at 10 a.m. So quite a bit of news this week, actually. This is a pretty dense week. And it's kind of a bummer because as we go into earnings here, we can see it's a pretty dense earnings week, and this is the start of earnings. Tech earnings, right? So Monday, nothing crazy. Ford, don't really look at that. AMD Tuesday, okay. Alphabet as well. Google, right? So those are going to be some big ones for us. Enovex, interesting one to watch as well. Then we have some like pharmacology ones here. Pfizer, nothing really significant, but our big ones are going to be AMD, Alphabet there. Microsoft on Wednesday, as well as Meta, Coinbase, and then if you want to even think about it, Robinhood, and then Roku. So some ones we've taken here in the past. Definitely to be aware of here, okay? Potentially even Starbucks, something to be aware as well as Carvana. These we've had some interesting setups sometimes, so something to be aware of. Going into Thursday, you could say Uber, but really we don't touch that. But really more significant to be Amazon, and then Apple, and some people like Intel. Personally, I don't. The volume's too low. But so takeaway from this week, this is the start, and this is a huge big tech week here with AMD, primarily AMD, Google, Microsoft, Meta, Coinbase, Amazon, and Apple, and if you want to put that kind of in the side watch area, Roku. So a lot of news this week to be aware of going into this week. Now, coming into this actual week, don't have the most significant setups, actually. It's a pretty slow start to the week, if you will. Only have a few setups. I have a few two side setups, and then two main watches. So going into my first main watch is going to actually be NVIDIA at 144.50. Now, albeit it is at 144.50, this isn't really setting up the way I like it to. It's not got the cleanest approach. It's not got the best setup. Like here would have been a phenomenal setup if this was double top. And it still could do this with a flat top at 144.50 would be great. But as of right now, I'm not the actual biggest fan of this, especially with the rejections we've been getting off this and just the lack of continuation on moves we've been taking. So NVIDIA is going to be one of those that it's definitely a main, but it's definitely got to approach in the correct way. My second and last, which is interesting to say, a watch list for this week is going to be Tesla here, and it's going to be at this basically flat top development. We've got 269.44 going into 270, of course. So that's going to be this week on Tesla. It's a really, really basic setup, and honestly, we got a lot of potential additional setups as well on top of that due to the just the amount of room this has, right? So this could keep going from earnings, but this could honestly just be another one of those crazy news rallies you could see here from earnings. I mean, we've had these in the past time and time again. You can see this is not something obtuse. This is a bit of a big one, but this is one no different than last times. and can reject straight back through the 200 level after hitting that recent high, if you will. So something to just be aware of, and conscientious of coming into this week on this setup here. So we got this, and then we'd be looking at key psychological levels following this, along with previous levels of resistance, in this case being an upside. So that's going to be the two mains. Then we have Apple and AMD. I'm just going to quickly go over these because these are really just subpar setups. Nothing the craziest to be watching, but I like them enough to make note of them and make a mention of them. So I like Apple here at what was it? Let me take a look here. I like Apple here at this high, actually at 233, I believe. And it doesn't look the best at all by any means, and I definitely needed to approach a little bit better. I'd really want this to come later in the week and almost do a flat top development or double top. But as of right now, I mean, it's not the worst setup here. It's kind of in a range of chop, but it's a good level of resistance that I'm not too, impartial to. So Apple is extremely subpar, though. I wouldn't even suggest it too heavily. And then downside, I would have this gap fill down here, but this is really, really far. Probably looking at this in another week or two, if that, maybe even more. And then the second one would be AMD at 160. Now this is subpar. It's not as bad as Apple, but it is definitely some worth making consideration of because of the area of constant rejection we got off 160. If AMD gets the right strength here and can get some real momentum close to open, realistically, is what we're going to need to see, then this could definitely be a nice break to the upside as well. And then I also have downside at 150 as well, with the low at 150.52 here to continue to fill the gap here we have. We already filled about half of it, and to see that gap filled all the way down to about, I'd probably be out about 149 on that. So that's going to be overall the entire watch list this week. A really, really slow watch. Nothing really too crazy here. Didn't like anything, insanely, too heavily, but pretty quick watch. It could change very, very drastically this week going into earnings and news and such this week. So just something to be aware of, and to just play it safe. And this is earnings, so every day you should be very, very conscientious of that. If it's definitely off open, you need to be sizing down, notably, and not, going in full size on a day that's got such a high elevated volatility and risk factor involvement there. So just stuff to be aware of, guys. So like I said, play the highest quality setups. Tesla's going to be my main, without a doubt, coming in tomorrow and on Monday. Just looking at that, probably is going to be my primary watch and all I'm going to be having pulled up. And let's go into this week and let's be patient, let's be disciplined and do what we do and kill it every week like we do. And I'll see you guys next week. Take it easy. Peace.